The quaint neighborhood of Willow Creek was the epitome of suburban charm. Rows of neatly manicured lawns stretched out beneath the shade of towering oak trees, and the air was filled with the distant hum of lawnmowers and children's laughter. It was the perfect place for Emma and Mark Johnson to start anew. Moving into their dream house on the corner of Elm Street, the Johnsons were greeted with warm smiles and welcoming waves from their neighbors. Among them was Mr. Robert Peterson, a seemingly affable man in his mid-50s with a kind smile and a penchant for gardening. He introduced himself as Bob and offered to help the Johnsons settle in. Emma was immediately taken by Bob's friendly demeanor. He seemed like the perfect neighbor, always willing to lend a hand and never too busy for a chat over the white picket fence. Mark, however, couldn't shake off a feeling of unease whenever he was around Bob. There was something about the way his eyes lingered a fraction too long, or the way his smile didn't quite reach his eyes, that set Mark on edge. As weeks turned into months, Bob's helpfulness bordered on intrusiveness. He would frequently drop by unannounced, offering unsolicited advice on everything from gardening to home security. Emma, ever polite, welcomed his visits with open arms, while Mark grew increasingly wary of his neighbor's intentions. One evening, Mark decided to confront Bob about his incessant meddling. As they stood in the dim glow of the porch light, Mark could feel the tension crackling in the air like static electricity. "Bob, I appreciate your help, but we're perfectly capable of taking care of ourselves," Mark said, trying to keep his tone civil. Bob's smile faltered for the briefest of moments before he regained his composure. "Of course, Mark. I just want to make sure you and Emma feel safe in your new home. You never know what kind of dangers lurk out there." Mark's unease only deepened at Bob's cryptic words, but he brushed it off as paranoia. After all, Bob was just a harmless old man, right? As the days stretched into weeks, strange things began to happen in Willow Creek. Pets started disappearing without a trace, and rumors of prowlers lurking in the shadows circulated among the neighbors. Emma and Mark couldn't help but feel a creeping sense of dread seeping into their once idyllic neighborhood. One night, while Mark was working late at the office, Emma heard a faint scratching at the back door. Assuming it was just a stray cat, she opened the door to investigate. What she saw next would haunt her nightmares for years to come. Standing in the pool of light cast by the porch lamp was Bob, his eyes gleaming with an unholy fervor as he held a bloodied knife in one hand. Before Emma could scream, Bob lunged forward, his twisted smile sending shivers down her spine. With adrenaline coursing through her veins, Emma slammed the door shut and bolted it with trembling hands. She reached for her phone to call the police, only to realize it was missing. In a panic, she retreated to the safety of the bedroom and barricaded the door with whatever furniture she could find. As Emma huddled in the darkness, the sound of shattering glass echoed through the house. Bob was inside, prowling like a predator on the hunt. With every creak of the floorboards, Emma's heart pounded in her chest like a drumbeat of terror. Suddenly, a voice broke through the silence. Mark's voice. He had returned home early and found the front door ajar. Racing inside, he followed the trail of destruction to the bedroom where Emma was hiding. "Emma, are you okay?" Mark whispered, his voice strained with fear. Emma nodded, her eyes wide with terror. "We have to get out of here, Mark. Bob's gone mad." Together, they devised a plan to escape through the window and make a run for it. As they climbed out on the roof, they could hear Bob's maniacal laughter echoing from within the house. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, they leaped from the roof and sprinted into the night, praying they would reach safety before Bob caught up to them. With the help of the police, Emma and Mark managed to evade Bob's clutches and find refuge in a safe house miles away from Willow Creek. But their nightmare was far from over. As the investigation unfolded, shocking truths came to light about their seemingly friendly neighbor. Bob was not who he appeared to be. He was a notorious serial killer who had been preying on the residents of Willow Creek for years, hiding his true nature behind a facade of neighborly charm. Emma and Mark were lucky to escape with their lives, but the scars of their ordeal would never fully heal. The once idyllic neighborhood of Willow Creek would forever be tainted by the memory of the monster who lurked beneath the friendly facade. In the end, they learned a valuable lesson: that evil can lurk in the most unexpected of places. And sometimes, the ones we trust the most are the ones we should fear the most.